Hi, I'm Lou. Welcome to my LouTube. Today I'm heading into town to go and meet some crazy people at the Altitude Centre in East London. These crazy people have roped me into a challenge this year. I was going to tell you all about it in my last video, but I got bogged down in boring you all with my recent health issues. You know how I'm all or nothing, and I basically only race on my bike if it's for world championships for my country. Well, it turns out that I will walk up a mountain for a record as well. So me and 5 other people are heading to Africa. Later this year, we're going to attempt a Guinness World Record on Mount Kilimanjaro. Do you remember Lindsay from one of my videos last year? She's my very energetic, very inspiring but very crazy friend that walked the whole way around the UK coastline last year. It took her 10 months and was quite incredible. Joined her for a day last year. I think it was possibly the furthest I'd ever walked before, and she was doing that every single day. In fact, I only did half a day with her. It's kind of embarrassing really, but anyway, she's very fit. And it's Lindsay who's roped me into this challenge. She's doing a whole bunch of other challenges this year, and this is just one of them. So she's roped Stu in as well. Stu's the guy that introduced me to her in the first place. He sponsored my team a few years ago, and he's no stranger to climbing mountains. He's done Kilimanjaro twice and has done Everest Base Camp already. So he's no stranger to walking. Unfortunately, he's also no stranger to grief. Grief has come knocking for him a couple of times. He lost his wife a handful of years ago, and then his dad last year. But he's been really open about his battle with grief and helps lots and lots of people with theirs. Next on the team, a lady called Dagna. She helped out Linz last year on her challenge and has had quite a few challenges of her own. I absolutely can't wait to meet her. She seems super fun, super energetic and really inspiring. We have an expedition leader called Dave Pickles who's organising all the Sherpas. He has done Kilimanjaro so many times I can't even remember, and has got a load of Guinness World Records on it for various other things too. So he's the perfect man to get us ready for the challenge and hopefully achieve the world record. And then our other team member is a guy called Dan. He's an ex-pro rugby league player who I haven't met yet. Looking forward to meeting him too. He's also super inspiring. He sadly lost his younger brother a couple of years ago to suicide and is incredible about the way he talks about grief and shares his message, the importance of staying on top of your mental health, and helps so many others as well. I'm pretty nervous because they all walk places. I don't. Why would you walk somewhere if you could ride your bike? And it seems if I'm not riding my bike, I'm resting. So I'm very much non-weight bearing basically all of the time. Today's going to be really interesting because not only do I get to meet my lovely teammates, but we're also doing a session at the Altitude Centre. So we will find out how altitude might affect us all. So even though I've got bike fitness, it's not the same as walking or running fitness. Thankfully, there's no running involved in this challenge. I checked that. I can't run. I do myself more injury than good when I run. So it's a walking or trekking challenge. So that's good. But who knows whether I'll be any good at it. So this session this afternoon should give us some insight into how we respond to altitude and should be really interesting. So I better get on with it. I'm almost at the train station. I'm going to head into Paddington and I will see you once I'm in London. Okay, I'm in town. We're all meeting at a cafe before we head to the Altitude Centre. I'm really excited to meet everyone. Let's go.
Here, we're going to be doing the active portion of the testing, which is basically testing the effect of hypoxia on the body while you're walking, which is as close as you can get to what you'll be doing in Kilimanjaro. We do kind of 3 heights. We do 2,700 metres, 3,800 metres, and then we do that 5,100 metres. So that's where the majority of people start to experience that altitude sickness. If you experience it at 5,100, you're obviously going to experience it at that Kilimanjaro summit as well. Let's get the knees going as well.
She's ready. She's ready.
Come on.
So, ready to start walking.
Or should I say deplete? What do I do?
I know.
I'll give you a pass. We walk at 10% incline, 3 kilometres an hour, which is kind of the top end speed you'd walk on the mountain. For some at night, you'll be walking much slower than that. We use this protocol just because it's our standardised test procedure, and we've got a big database to compare your results to.
Perfect. I think you're draining every last litre of blood.
That's the percentage of your red blood cells that are fully saturated. One red blood cell can carry 4 oxygen molecules at the moment, 100, and when yours comes to life. Give it a second.
She died.
I'm
dead.
Try the middle finger.
Try the middle finger. What the hell?
I'll give it a chance. I just want some blood flow, I imagine.
There you go.
Oh God. She's not
human.
You've got very, very cold
Yeah.
fingers, that's what.
Do you want me to rub my hands?
It might come to life. These ones are normally all right when people are cold.
There we go.
There we go.
So
Back
what
in
you
the
got
room.
there,
She's back in the room.
I was so cold.
She's human, she's human.
So you've got those, yeah. You've got the percentage. So you see at the moment for both of you,
I'm a chilly lass.
99% of your red blood cells are fully saturated, which is exactly what we look for. Anything 95% plus is considered healthy. But when you go to altitude, that number, your respiratory drops. How it drops and where it drops is what's linked to our risk of altitude sickness. So if you want to pop those on for me, we're just going to do a couple of minutes with the mask on, and I want to see where that number drops down to and where it stabilises out at. And as I said, this is the same height you were next door, just without the additional stress of walking or aerobic load. Yeah, that's about right. Cool, happy days. We'll leave you on there for a couple of minutes, we'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. Really useful and kind of finds a plateau or a steady state quite quickly. So we're going to let that number come down, let it stabilise out, and then extrapolate it into the future. Because you don't suffer altitude sickness in 5, 10, 15 minutes, you suffer it in 5, 10, 15 hours. So what you want to see is see where that number comes down to, see where it stabilises out, and then we can extrapolate that into the future to see what it's going to mean at the different heights. Okay? Oh god.
I'm brilliant at sitting.
Yes!
The best.
She's nailing it!
Cool. Right, what I'll get to then.
We've been released into the wild. I'll fill you in on everything that happens in a bit. But first, we're going for a debrief. What better place than at Dirty Dick's?
I'm getting way too excited about the dirty things.
So we may or may not have had a pint and a debrief in the pub. Now I'm going to walk back to Paddington. I need to start walking more because I'm a cyclist. I do my exercise on my bike and that's about it. So yes, that was a very interesting session. So what I didn't show you on the treadmill, because I couldn't film on that, was they controlled the amount of oxygen we were getting with those masks to replicate the different altitudes. And we did 5 minutes at each of the different 3 altitudes. It was hard. None of us made it through all 3. We didn't choose to stop, we were told to stop. And our oxygen saturation level reached 75%. So that happened to me 15 seconds before the end of the 2nd altitude. Then a bit of recovery, and on the last altitude, I can't remember whether I even made it a minute, I'm not sure, but it was a really, really weird feeling that I just felt like I couldn't get a breath, which my heart rate was still low because I wasn't working out hard. So it's quite a strange feeling to be feeling how you feel at exercise, at hard exercise, but to not be at hard exercise. That feeling of not being able to get enough oxygen in is not fun. I have asthma, so it just made me feel like I was going to have an asthma attack or something like that, but it's definitely all stuff I can work on, which is good, and I don't need to start all the altitude stuff just yet because we're not going until October, so I have plenty of time. I just need to up my walking between now and then to start weight bearing, because cycling is not weight bearing. The test that I absolutely nailed was the sitting at altitude test. Like I didn't even feel any difference even at like the full highest altitude that they were testing, over 5,000 meters, absolutely fine while sitting. So if you've got any records you'd like me to break of sitting at altitude, nail that, no problem. The guys from the Altitude Centre were absolutely brilliant, really know their stuff. I've worked with loads and loads of people before, doing all sorts of crazy challenges. No one has done what we're doing because the record hasn't been set yet, so It's kind of scary and exciting at the same time. I'm going to have a follow-up call with the Altitude Centre guys over the next week with my individual stats, so I can update you more in a future video with that info, because we did it as a group today, so got some top level stuff, but we're all coming from a different place in fitness and altitude experience, so that's going to be interesting. It was really cool to meet my teammates. They're all lovely, and we're going to have a lot of fun getting to know each other better and adventuring over the next load of months with our end goal of breaking a world record in Africa. Africa is a really special place to me. I was made in Africa. Thanks, Mum, for letting me know that a few years ago. And spent the first almost 5 years of my life living there. Started school there, lived in Cameroon and Nigeria, because my dad worked for Guinness out there at 2 big breweries, which he helped build. So it's going to be pretty amazing to get back to Africa. I haven't been since my early 20s. My parents moved back there when I was at uni, so I used to visit Lagos, Nigeria during my holidays. So I'm excited to get back to Africa and heading to a new country within Africa, which is Tanzania. So it's going to be brilliant. I'll also introduce you to all of my teammates as I adventure with them over the next few months. They've all got some really, really interesting stories to tell. For those of you that just follow me for the cycling content, don't worry, that's not going away. I absolutely will be cycling loads still to keep my fitness, improve my fitness, and make sure I'm in great shape for Kilimanjaro. But you'll have a few other videos that are non-bike related as I get ready for this challenge. I'm heading to Florida in the next week or so to get some nice sunny temperatures. I'll be taking my bike and I'll be meeting up with my friends there. I've got an amazing ride that I'm going on, an event, the Fallen Officers ride in Orlando, which I did a year ago and was absolutely brilliant, so I'm heading back to do that again. So I made it to Paddington. It was touch and go because I fell over about 10 minutes into my 5-mile walk. My first walking boot injury. I'll fill you in on that on a future video because it's a lot. But, oh my gosh, even without a bike, this is going to be a wild ride. So come along for the journey. I'm getting the train back to Marlow now, but that will do for this video. So thank you for watching. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. If you don't subscribe, please do. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.